good afternoon here from Kigali at the MWC 2025. I have the pleasure, I'm together here with Honorable Minister Paula Ingabire, Minister of ICT and Innovation in Rwanda. Hello, Paula. Nice to meet you again.
Good afternoon. Good to meet you.
Thank you. From your panel discussion on shaping Africa's future through digital and AI, what does Africa's digital future look like to you? And what critical steps must be taken now to make the vision reality?
Well, Africa's digital future, first of all, has to be inclusive. And at the same time, it needs to be able to respond to the challenges that we're solving for in our day and age. And so when we think about the digital future, obviously conversations around and interventions around connectivity become very key. Here at the Mobile World Congress Africa event, we have had very good conversations around, yes, we have solved the problem of coverage to a certain extent. Yes, there's certain gaps that exist, but I think the bigger challenge that we're all trying to solve for is the issue of usage. And because you have so many Africans that live in areas that are very well covered with a form of, a signal, but yet people are still not accessing it. And so the future is really around how we close the gap on usage, and that would mean making sure that our African population is digitally literate. They have affordable devices, but we're also building content in the local languages that is also specific to the different groups of our population. And you can't think of Africa's digital future without talking about AI. AI is already disrupting. It's already here. And so as a continent, we are also preparing on how we put in place the foundational pieces to make sure that, we're not exacerbating the digital divide, but really, as we continue to close the current digital divide, we're also thinking about how AI can help in closing those gaps, but also can help in making sure that our people can thrive in the digital age.
So it can be accelerator, basically.
Absolutely. I think AI has, it's not just an enabler, but it has the opportunity, if done responsibly, to accelerate progress, but also to close these gaps. But that requires partnerships at the end of the day. It requires understanding the building blocks, whether it's compute, data, the regulations, the policies, but also figuring out where is AI best positioned to create opportunities for our people.
Yeah. So Rwanda has often been cited as a model for digital innovation and governance in Africa. So what lessons can we learn from Rwanda's approach to be replicated or adapted to drive inclusive growth, digital growth across Africa?
To start, for Rwanda, we are a proof of concept hub. So when you think about the approach that we've taken for technology, it's really simple. Do we see an opportunity for technology to respond to our needs? And the answer is always yes. How do we use that technology? Now, we don't necessarily wait for a perfect environment where you have the right regulations, you have the funding that is required to get things done. And so even with the constraints that we may have, we still are able to find ways where technology is able to support us with that. And I think that's a powerful lesson that can be taken to many countries, because I don't know of a single country that has all the resources they need for all the digital ambitions they have in place. And so it's really being able to bet on technology and being able to plan and understand what do you start with and scale as you go along. And I may end on this, which is really, for Rwanda, we're always open to sharing what our lessons have been. But a lot of the progress that we've had as a country has been thanks to partnerships. Partnerships have really been the way we've been able to accelerate, to test and be a proof of concept on many of these technologies. And it's partnerships that will also take us forward with some of the ambitions that we have.
So you mentioned the interesting point, what really resonates in the many conversations I had here the last 2 days, is that we need solutions who really, let's say, cater the real needs we have in the countries, like solutions from Africa for Africa.
Absolutely.
So do you think that is something we really have to focus on when we decide about certain solutions? Because everything, as I said, sounds fancy, sounds great, but
No, absolutely, because who would know our problems better than us? And so giving our people an opportunity to, use their skills and use their, their passion for technology to solve for these problems is always very useful. But I think the most important thing is always figuring out from early on, what's the problem I'm trying to solve for with technology? It's not just, implementing technology for the sake of technology. It has to be coming to solve a problem, and it has to be the best way you're going to solve a problem. and then you can invest in the skills and the much needed infrastructure to do that.
Yeah, makes sense. As Africa deepens its digital and AI integration, so how do you envision ensuring that emerging technologies contribute meaningfully to both economical and social development?
It's great that you use the word meaningful, and comes back to the earlier, the first question that I responded to, because meaningful in many ways will mean that are people empowered when they use these digital technologies of AI, and are they able to access it? So when you look at the usage gap, when we talk about meaningful use of this, it's how do we solve for the current usage gap, but also how do we make sure that with all these other emerging technologies, this usage gap, we're also thinking about how it doesn't become exacerbated as we go along. But I think there's also a lot of opportunities for us as a continent, even in harmonizing the standards, the regulations, the policies, which is really what is required from us as the public sector in really creating that enabling environment. And then obviously skills is such a big factor in all of this. If we don't have our young people that are trained and skilled to be able to leverage these digital technologies and use those skills to solve our problems, I think we'll have a generation that is disconnected from this opportunity that we provide. And so, and I'm confident that at least the shared understanding across the continent is there. Some of the conversations that we're having here at MWC, are a way of, confirming that commitment and understanding, shared commitment and understanding is there. What is left to do for us is now to really get the work done and to take risks so that we can really benefit from the promises that technology gives us.
So we can say you're optimistic.
Very optimistic.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time and
For
conversation.
having me today.
Thank you. That was TechAfrica News from MWC 2025 here in Kigali. You can find more on techafricanews.com.